Last week in Michigan politics, President Donald Trump's one big beautiful bill being signed into law this week. While some touted its mission and what was inside, why it wasn't a celebration for everyone. Plus, one local city's push to make local transit more affordable. We have the details on a new app meant to do just that. And we're celebrating 2 years of The Rundown here at 13 on Your Side. We take you behind the scenes to show you how it came to be and what goes into what we do for our viewers. I'm Josh Alburtus, and this is your 13 on Your Side Rundown. And we begin this episode in Washington. President Donald Trump has celebrated the 4th of July and the passage of his tax cut and spending plan. He signed the bill into law during the Independence Day celebrations in Washington, complete with a B-2 flyover. He is praising the bill's $4 trillion in tax cuts, including no taxes on tips and overtime pay. No Democrats voted for the bill, saying it takes the safety net from millions of Americans. The president's supporters in Congress say it wasn't easy to get passed. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office had estimated the bill would add $3.4 trillion to the national deficit in the next decade. We heard from multiple lawmakers and stakeholders about the effects of the bill and what it could do throughout the last week. One of the greatest concerns for many is the cuts to Medicaid and the impacts on health care coverage and hospital funding. The executive vice president of the Michigan Health and Hospital Association told us the impact to Medicaid could hit every hospital, but especially those in rural areas.
From the time that this bill takes effect for the 10 years going forward, the hit to Michigan hospitals is over $6 billion.
She said about 25% of Michiganders use Medicaid, and Medicaid covers more than 50% of births at most hospitals. She added that where the healthcare system is most vulnerable to funding cuts in Michigan is in rural areas.
Sometimes the cost of running a rural hospital can be higher because in order to attract physicians and other clinicians and experts, you might actually have to pay more to get them to come to a rural area for work.
Now, because the cuts will happen over a period of time, she said she and other healthcare leaders will work to find the funding needed to provide service. But for some, the urgency of the bill and benefits they see for Michigan were certainly there. On the other side of this debate, we spoke with West Michigan Congressman Bill Huizenga as the bill was approaching its final passage. He signaled that solidifying tax cuts and changes and what he sees as clamping down on abuse of social safety nets means what was in the bill would mean benefits for Michigan.
Why would we not want to root out fraud? Why would we want to make sure that we are spending your tax dollars as efficiently as we possibly can? The safety net should be a safety net. We have to get this tax policy put in place. We have to get these savings put into place. And this is a very big positive first step, but it's just a step in the journey.
As the signing took place Friday here in Michigan, its passage wasn't a positive for everyone. 13 on Your Side's Lance Wilhelm went to Muskegon, where some residents were protesting the signing.
President Trump is signing his mega bill into law today, but some people here in Muskegon are protesting the new law and what they say are the dangers it poses to their community and the country.
I don't want my kids and grandkids to have to fight for things I thought we already won.
On this Independence Day, protesters like Bonnie Lipan in Muskegon are speaking out against actions they see as un-American being taken in Washington.
Cowan, I can't believe that this bill just passed both the House and the Senate, taking away money from marginal people, Medicaid, Medicare, which I'm on, holy forbid.
It all has to do with President Trump's mega bill getting signed into law today, which, among other things, will cut Medicaid and food benefits while bolstering border spending.
Also, it hurts health care, taking food out of children's mouths to give the rich tax breaks.
The protest was organized by Indy Next Gen, a chapter of progressive activist group Indivisible, aiming to mobilize younger generations to get involved in politics.
Help others and to give to and cheer for our freedoms in this parade.
Some see protesting on July 4th as unpatriotic, saying protesters lack appreciation for the freedoms they have. One protest organizer tells us it's the opposite.
I think this is the most American thing you can do, right? I mean, it started with tossing tea into a harbor, and since then, I think Americans have been protesting every time they get pissed off about something.
Though many of the items in what President Trump calls the big, beautiful bill won't take effect for some time, that isn't quelling feelings of unease for those who believe their benefits are in more danger now than ever.
I just had a heart attack recently. That was all paid for by Medicare. I'm scared.
And on this profoundly American holiday, feelings about what exactly it means to be American are shifting.
I love this country, but all of the freedoms that I was so proud of are being taken away.
And so what do you feel it means to be American right now?
Oh my gosh. I don't know, but I'm ready to move to Canada.
This wasn't the first protest we've seen, and it definitely won't be the last we'll see as this new law starts to go into effect. In Muskegon, Lance Wilhelm, 13 on your side.
The March Against Genocide ended in Lansing. The members left Grand Rapids and over several days walked to the state capitol. The march was organized by Palestine Solidarity Grand Rapids to protest the United States' recent attack on Iran. Money was also raised for a nonprofit that helps Palestinian children. After the march, the group rallied on Capitol steps.
You showed us that Michigan marches against genocide because all children are our children. Michigan marches against genocide because the Palestinian struggle is our struggle.
The march was said to have raised more than $13,000, surpassing their goal of $10,000. As we celebrate the 4th of July, a newly released poll seems to show a significant drop in American pride. The Gallup poll taken in early June showed over 58% of U.S. adults are extremely or very proud of America. The numbers changed drastically when broken down by party affiliation. This year, 92% of Republicans say they are extremely or very proud. Only 36% of Democrats feel the same way, and with a record low number among independents as well. Gallup first conducted the poll in 2001. For years, they say, pride in America remained relatively high among all groups, but began to change around 2016. A sociologist we spoke to at Michigan State University says that's when the tone of politics became much more divisive.
The language matters from our elected officials about how we are moving, how we can move forward. Can we do this in a positive way, or are we going to do it on the backs of those that are different from us?
The Gallup poll also showed a big gap between the generations. 75% of baby boomers described themselves as extremely or very proud, while 41% of people from Generation Z, born after 1996, described themselves that way. People in one Michigan town are hoping their newest idea will make local transit more affordable. Coming up, what they've come up with to help get their neighbors on the move. The city of Ionia is rethinking public transportation on a much smaller scale with a new app launched last week. The aim is to provide a cheaper alternative to Uber or Lyft that will also increase the city's footprint for public transportation. 13 on your side's Lance Wilhelm has the story.
Forget Uber and Lyft. If you live in Ionia County, starting Monday, you'll have access to a brand new public transit app called iGo.
So we came up with the concept of doing more of a micro transit, so origin to destination, single rider, single trip planning, to reach some of those outlying areas, the counties that don't currently have service, but really have a need for it.
iGo will work in a similar way to the apps like Uber and Lyft that you're used to using on your phone, except it'll be a lot cheaper. For rides under 6 miles, it'll only cost you $3, and the maximum charge you might have to pay is $15 for any ride above 20 miles.
Once it loads, it'll bring you to the home screen.
The app is in addition to the City of Ionia's existing public transit programs. With more drivers and expanded hours, Heidi Wenzel, Ionia's Director of Transportation, says iGo should help service an additional 17,000 people this year, a game changer for the rural community.
A lot of individuals need that opportunity to have an option to get to work, get to the grocery store, get to their medical appointments. And this provides that option to really be able to continue to be independent, whether you're young, old.
A $1.1 million government grant made the new program possible. That cash will help kickstart IGO over the next 3 years, with the hope of eventually becoming self-sustaining.
I'm really excited for this opportunity to bring this to our community and see where it goes. I encourage people to just really reach out to us if they have any questions, any concerns. Reach out, we'll walk them through it, help them out, and we look forward to serving the community.
An update now from earlier this year on the future of Job Corps centers around the country, including the one in Grand Rapids. They were ordered to close as part of the Trump administration's budget cuts, but a judge has ruled students can continue to use the centers pending a lawsuit. Supporters say the center is needed now more than ever. 13 on your side's Lauren Baker reports.
After much concern, the doors of the Gerald R. Ford Job Corps Center won't be closing for good just yet.
The amazing output that they really have in the community for the students they have is something that is so irreplaceable.
Austin McFarland is one of many community members that gathered for a conversation surrounding the future of the center on Monday. The Job Corps provides job training and other educational classes to older teens and young adults.
I think Job Corps is such a valuable program within this country and even like Grand Rapids.
Hosted by State Representative Christian Grant.
It is our job to be engaged, be involved, be supportive.
She says the goal was to hear what the center is doing to help its students strive and how the community can help.
We can invest more and we can make it easier for them, but it's working, and so it's not something that you look to dismantle.
And that possible dismantling is on pause after a federal judge ordered the U.S. Labor Department to allow centers to continue to operate while a lawsuit against the move to stop operations is resolved. Still, she says more work needs to be done.
Yes, the program is still going, but you don't get an order like that and then there's no lasting impact. So I think moving forward, we need to look at the intentionality of this program, how we can give them the resources that they need to truly move ahead.
While the meeting was open to the public, 13 on Your Side was not allowed in. But McFarland was able to tell us leaders say the center is expected to stay open throughout the year. An optimistic sign he says should encourage everyone to continue to support the center.
If there's anything we can do to support Job Corps, I think the general consensus in Grand Rapids is to come around.
Reporting in Grand Rapids, Lauren Baker, 13 on Your Side.
The state's top law enforcement officer is joining other states in suing the Trump administration over alleged transfer of personal health data. What she says happened and how she's responding. That's next. Last week, Governor Gretchen Whitmer signed the 6th Public Act of the year following the passage of House Bill 4090 by the state Senate. The new Public Act takes effect immediately and authorizes the state administrative board to sell the Detroit Detention Center in Wayne County to the city of Detroit. The 96-acre property opened in 2013 and was under the jurisdiction of the Michigan Department of Corrections. Now, that facility and property will be purchased, staffed, and run by the city. The bill passed with nearly unanimous support in both chambers, and backers of the legislation say it will save taxpayer money by freeing up resources and staff for the Department of Corrections to be used elsewhere. Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel announced this week she was joining multiple other states in suing the Trump administration over what they allege has been the sharing of people's personal health data with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE. In her release, she said the states learned through news reports that the Department of Health and Human Services had transferred Medicaid data files from several states to the Department of Homeland Security, which contained personal health records representing millions of people. She said the federal government claimed it gave Homeland Security the data to make sure Medicaid benefits only go to those lawfully entitled to them. But in her statement, Nessel said, quote, "Our personal health care data is exactly that, personal. It should remain confidential and be accessible only to agencies directly involved with Medicaid. This unlawful move by the Trump administration to grant access to unrelated entities will undoubtedly harm the health, privacy, and well-being of all Michiganders." This episode of The Rundown marks 2 years since we began bringing Michigan politics on a weekly basis to you. Coming up, we give you a backstage look at how it came to be and how we make it work. That's next. This week was the second anniversary of the launch of this show, now the longest running of its kind here at 13 on Your Side. We want to thank you, the viewers, for supporting this show since we began. A simple idea to bring you all the top stories in Michigan politics each week, all in one place. So together, we could be a part of this grand experiment of American democracy. It's because of you that we can do this. And in honor of that anniversary, we're introducing you to some of what and who go about behind the scenes to make this show what it is and why we do what we do for you.
Politics. Hi, my name is Stephen Bonner, and I am the executive producer, well, one of two executive producers of The Rundown, Last Week in Michigan Politics. I wanted to have a place where people could go and look at the minutia of local and state politics. I mean, a lot of it you don't even think about, that so much in local government impacts your day-to-day life, and people don't really think about that very often.
I see more than just servers and or bartenders losing jobs.
There are a number of my colleagues who have shared that they are very supportive of my right to be married to my husband, but I don't know that there are enough of them.
The time for change was years ago, after each previous mass shooting. They were worthy of life. You guys are worthy of life. I am worthy of life.
That's why politics are so important, so kind of just bringing it together into everything, just one singular place for people to be able to have all of that information, but also know how it's going to impact them so they can make choices for their family, so they can make choices for themselves in ways that if they didn't know what was going on behind the scenes and they didn't know how that may impact someone like them, that they otherwise wouldn't be able to do.
I love the fact too that this is like a huge team effort. The entire station is behind this, and the show's kind of evolved a lot from just a very quick show in the beginning, less than 15 minutes. And then now, when we have reporters doing a lot more political stories.
Micah Cho,
Lauren Baker, Kelly Lichter.
13 on Your Side.
So we have more contacts with state and local governments.
Does it complicate your ability to say, we'll show up at the table, we'll go to work every day as elected, when at the end of the session the caucus was not in the session? Does that complicate the message at all when you're trying to convince both your legislative partners and the voters?
And so we're able to get behind the scenes more, and now the show's expanded. We have one-on-one interviews with people.
You have remained a staunch ally and supporter of his staying in the race. Why is that? What do you say to them about, when you talk about maintaining democracy?
And I just really like where it's going, and I'm really proud of what we've done.
It's important that we have an informed citizenry. It really is something that is so important to who we are. I mean, as Americans, it's so important to be participating in that. And it seems like the community really takes that seriously. And the interest that you have in the show really keeps us going from week to week, every single week that we do this, and try to bring it out to you because you are the people that we are serving when we do this.
And that's the rundown for your week in Michigan politics. Be sure to keep up with all the top political stories of the day, both on air and online at 13onyourside.com. As always, we'll see you next week.